Hi, this is Bill Densmore, the Journalism That Matters, convening in Detroit, and I'm talking to Adrienne Marie Brown, who just lives a few blocks away from Wayne State University, where we are. And you just talked to our convening a little bit about the U.S. Social Forum, which is going to be convening June 22nd to 26th here, mostly around the Wayne State campus, right?
Or mostly
and
downtown. So it's going to be mostly at Cobo Hall and Hart Plaza, which are both right down on the river.
All right.
And then we'll have some sessions that are up at Wayne State.
Okay. Now, there's a website, which I'll ask you to cite at the end of this little conversation.
Okay.
So let's assume people know what the U.S. Social Forum is, because they're going to go look at that website.
Great.
Why is it in Detroit?
So the Social Forum is in Detroit for a couple of reasons. One, because Detroit is seen as the epicenter of the economic crisis that's going on right now. It's been an epicenter of economic crisis for about 30 years now. The auto industry divested a long time ago. And so the communities here have had to actually learn how to survive in new ways, new and really creative and interesting ways. And the community here says often, Detroit is what the rest of the world has to look forward to. And I think that's very true when you see some of the things that are growing in Detroit. There's a growing agricultural movement. There's over 1,000 community gardens throughout the greater Metro Detroit area, and agricultural farming projects. There's Peace Zones for Life. There's amazing work happening in the welfare rights community and trying to really uplift the voices of people who are living in poverty and the rights of people who are living in poverty. So Detroit has sort of said we're not expecting anyone to come and uplift us out of the situation. No one's going to come and save us. We actually have to do it ourselves. Communities have to take on the responsibility of changing the way we live and changing the way we interact with each other.
Now, the last U.S. Social Forum was in Atlanta.
Was in
right?
Atlanta, Georgia.
And that was 3 years ago?
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
Is it on a 3-year cycle?
It's not really on a cycle. It's
okay.
After the first one, we said we definitely need to do this again.
Is
that was
it a
really
nonprofit that owns it?
No.
No. Who owns it?
No one owns it. The Social Forum process it's an international forum
yep.
process, right? So there's about 50 organizations,
mm-hmm.
Groups and organizations, many of which are nonprofits, some of which are not, some of which are volunteer-run.
So is there some sort of coordinating organization that's putting together
the
logistics?
National Planning Committee.
Got it.
Is basically the National Logistics Committee, and I'm one of the national coordinators of that
So
body.
who deals with a hotel to get a group rate? Who deals with all that kind of stuff?
There's a logistics team, but a lot of that information is up on the website. So there's a lot of self-organization. Like we go out, do the research, and then we put that up on the website so that folks can go there and figure it out. We fax it out. We send our outreach teams out to let people know what they can do. What
would be the best outcome you personally could hope for from U.S. Social Forum Detroit?
I feel like the best possible outcome is that people would come and get so inspired by the ways Detroit is taking their future into their own hands that they would take that spirit and return to their own cities and towns all over the country and start doing that. My second hope would be that the infrastructure in Detroit gets built up such that Detroit is much improved by the fact that 20,000 people came through.
What is your background, just very briefly?
In terms of my organizing background, how I came to be here?
Well, yeah, how you came to be here.
I'm a military brat who started organizing very early on.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up mostly in Germany and Georgia, and lived in New York for 10 years, Oakland for 3, and then fell in love with someone in Detroit and fell in love with Detroit, and have been here since September.
Yep.
And haven't seen anything else anywhere else in the world or the country that compares to what I see in Detroit. So I'm hooked.
Just tell me a little bit more about what you're seeing here that's amazing.
I feel like the spirit of Detroit, someone said it earlier today, Detroit is indomitable. That no matter what happens to Detroit, that you would think this is going to break the city, this is going to break the communities, and instead it makes people stronger and feel a deeper commitment to taking care of each other, and coming up with creative solutions for how a city and how a town should be run. And I think that, there's no other place that has the kind of, where the city has depopulated at the rate that Detroit has depopulated, and so now trying to figure out what does it look like to have an urban-rural environment, what does it actually mean for people to have the opportunity to look at what used to be a house next door and now is a plot of land that could be a space where they could be growing their own food. What does that actually mean? And I feel like that's an important question for us to be wrestling with, is what does it mean to shift how we think of cities.
Your name again, how people get a hold of you, and the website URL. It's
Adrienne Marie Brown. And people can get a hold of me, ADRIENNE at USSF2010.org, and the website is just USSF2010.org.
Thanks.